Let's take a closer look at the zones of regulation. When we think about the zones of regulation, we think about the importance of why we implement SEL into the educational and home setting. The importance is whole child's learning. And the idea of whole child's learning is when a child is emotionally, mentally, physically taken care of, that they are able to academically learn well and be successful. And this is exactly what Leah Kuypers thought as she developed the zones of regulation. It's all centered around self-regulation. And self-regulation goes by many names, such as self-control, self-management, and impulse control. It's defined as the state of alertness of both the body and emotions in response to any situation. The zones of regulation is broken down into 4 colors. And if you've ever seen Disney Pixar's movie Inside Out, where the characters are emotions that are easily identified with each of the zones. The zones are the blue zone, the green zone, the yellow zone, and the red zone. When you're in the blue zone, you are maybe experiencing some sadness. You may have the feelings of starting to get sick. You just may be tired and moving slowly, or you may even find yourself being a little bored. When you're in the yellow zone, you could be experiencing some frustration, either with a class assignment or with a relationship. You could feel a little worried about something that's happened at home or in school. You could also feel overly silly and excited, and you're experiencing a little loss of some control. When you're in the red zone, you are mad and angry, or you could be terrified. You could also get physical in nature. You could begin to hit or verbally yell. And you are experiencing feelings that are out of control. When you're in the green zone, you're happy, calm, focused, and ready to learn. The idea in each zone, blue, yellow, or red, is always to come back to green zone where you're calm, focused, and ready to learn.
The zones of regulation is a common language that adults and children can share. The zones of regulation allows children to increase their vocabulary of emotional terms, and it makes children be more aware of facial expressions and body language. And this can be modeled by the adult or the classroom teacher to first show children how they feel and what their face would look like and their body language, and then have the children try that and look at their peers. And this also will better help children understand one's triggers, not only of themselves, but others. It teaches children calming and alerting strategies and also problem-solving skills. There is no such thing as a bad zone. It's really important to note that everyone experiences all of the zones, and the red and the yellow zones are not bad or naughty zones. What is important to note, though, is if a child is in the red zone, it's not a time to talk. You're not going to try to sit down and talk to that person in the red zone. They need time to come back to green. Green is always the zone where the communication is best. All of the zones are expected at one time or another as an adult or a child, and the zones are intended to be neutral and non-judgmental. Here are some examples of how you can use the zones of regulation at home or at school. So you can do a zones of regulation check-in. You even do an air high five or actually a high five on a poster. There could be colored sticks matched with different emotions and faces. I love how the photo at the bottom shows different faces of each zone, but it also tells you the word of how that emotion or what that emotion is or how that child could be feeling. Once students are aware of the zones and their different emotions, and they realize when their body's in that state, they'll then be able to start building a toolkit. They'll say, when I'm in the blue zone, I know that if I get a drink of water, I'll feel so much better. And they can start writing these strategies down. Then they can always refer to that toolkit in times of need. One idea that's really helpful is to have break cards. Children can know that if they're in the red zone or the yellow or the blue, they can refer to that break card. And once they have those break cards, they'll start to see what strategies work to then build their own individualized toolkit.